All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. Yes, 5,000 miles on the Tesla Model Y. This is my 24 Tesla Model Y, and a lot of us got this car back in the several months back. I was going to say back in the day, several months back, maybe 4 to 5, maybe 4 to 6 months ago, for 0.99%, and it has been an awesome deal ever since. So I really like this deal that I got, but more so, forget the price. Um, it's about the car itself. Now, I have added a lot of modifications to this car, and I'm going to talk about how some of the modifications have been holding up. So before I do that, I want to show you the HVAC system update because my Plaid doesn't have this yet. My Plaid does not have this update yet, but this car does have the update. And so I wanted to point that out. If you don't have this update yet, don't worry, you will get it. My Plaid has gotten, and I've had this update for probably 3 weeks to a month, but I wanted to wait and just put it all in this 5,000 mile follow up because some of you guys got this a month ago as well. But this is the new HVAC system, and it definitely looks completely different than the original HVAC system. So that's something to take note of. If you don't have this update yet, just know that you will get it, and don't worry. It pretty much cleans up the HVAC UI is all it does, but it still works identical. And you can see here you've got your all the things that were on this side over here are now on the top. And then these things right here are that were on the top, they're down on the bottom. So you got all your controls and stuff here, your heated seats and steering wheel and winch. Everything is default. It's all down here on the bottom, and it's kind of flipped it. And then also this rear and front used to be over here. So just kind of take note of that. But other than that, man, I mean, without just them shuffling around the way the UI looks, it works exactly the same. Now, let's talk about some of the modifications that I've made. Now, this is one modification that I've made that has been in question by a lot of people. Now, some people are saying on the website, it says you can unplug this and it charges it and then it just will work without it. What I was wrong in my other video reply. Someone made a comment and I replied about it saying, yes, you can unplug it. But if you unplug this, it's going to power down and it will not stay charged. There's no internal battery per se in this unit right here. I just chose not to hide my wires yet. You can reverse this way and tuck the wires around because this cable is long enough. I just chose not to do that. I just chose to have it right here. So you won't see the wires if you hide the wires back reverse like you should, which is take this cable, flip it back this way, this long cable, run it along down and up and onto the bottom, and you'll be good to go. But that's one modification that I've done to the car. It still works. It just needs to stay plugged in, and I wanted to let that be known. So I'm gonna hop out of the car now, and we'll look around the outside, and I'll point out some things that have gone wrong with the car. They're not gone wrong, but just kind of happened. Let's go. Now, the first thing I want to point out is back here at the rear, I put in these tail lights right here. And when I did that, um, this seal on this side right here, somewhere along here, is dripping a little bit of water in when I wash the car. It's not puddles back here, but it's enough to where I had noticed one day, and I was like, oh shoot. So I'm gonna redo this entire seal area right here at some point. It's kind of crimping right there. I'm going to have to redo it and make sure I fix that because there's water seeping in somewhere. That's user error. That's nothing to do with the car. And then also, I still have the full refrigerator down here that is still in full functioning. It's working just like new. All the modifications that I've done absolutely work. Um, this is the rear screen. It still works like new. Everything is working with the modifications. This carbon fiber spoiler right here has been holding up great. I got it sealed on perfectly, so it doesn't mess up anything. Also, these tail lights, everything's still working. Um, just any of the cosmetic things that I've done, these carbon fiber mirror caps, the bumper, this front lip, holding on perfectly fine. And the reason I say it's holding on is because this car isn't a car that I kind of take it easy on. It's a road car. It sits in the garage, but in reality, it stays dirty because it's always driven every day of the week. This car gets driven every day of the week. Period. Every day of the week, it gets driven. So that's why this car is. I didn't PPF it. I didn't get it. I don't PPF anyway. People keep asking me about PPFing. I don't PPF cars. I didn't grow up in an era where we were PPFing cars. It just didn't exist. And I ceramic cars. But this car with no PPF is doing phenomenal, man. I mean, all I do is ceramic all the cars, and this car right here stays dirty. So, because lately we've been getting a lot of rain. Typically, it won't be like filthy, but we've been getting a lot of rain. And it was also, she drove it through some tar or something, and the entire side of this car was covered, like it was a construction zone. It was covered in like this thick gray tar. And I had to get out and physically scrub it all off. I was furious, but it's off. It's off the paint and it's perfectly fine. Didn't take much, just a little bit of elbow grease, my elbows. Again, this front bumper, this lip is holding on just right. And the reason I point that out also because I take this car through a wash. I take it through a wash and it could get beat up pretty bad in a wash. And I just wanted to let it be known that, yeah, this is what the car is looking like after being washed every other day through a car wash. Like those big power car washes with the brushes. Yeah, that's where this car goes. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Paint's holding up great. So other than that drip up there that I created myself for the when I installed the rear tail lights, other than that happening, this has been 5,000 miles of greatness, man. But I can tell you one thing: when I get in and out of this car, and I get back into the Plaid, oh man, it feels like I know this is an SUV. That's the thing. I can tell that this is an SUV before, because remember I boosted this car, so the performance on it has the 4.2 to 0 to 60 or whatever. So it's quick. It's just that, man, getting in and out of that Plaid, it's like, whoa, I can tell the difference. I can tell the difference. Now, actually, I'm using the Pixel 9 Pro XL to record this video, just real quick side note. And I do have my external microphone in with the wind filter because it is definitely super windy out here. And I know the Pixel can handle it, but today is like overly windy. So you shouldn't hear too much wind, if not any, because I'm using a bit of a high power mic with the wind filter wirelessly with the phone. So nonetheless, 5,000 miles. This is just one of the best buys you can. I mean, there's a reason that the Model Y is the #1 selling car in the world, and second is the Model 3, I believe, and then so on and so on. You know, all the Teslas get #1. One thing I like to talk about this car is people don't really mention much is the crash rating. I don't want to get into a crash, but these cars have 5-star crash ratings. So if you're thinking about a Model Y or just any of the Teslas, they typically have 5-star crash ratings, and people just don't mention that very often for some reason or another. But I don't know, man. 5,000 miles later, I don't have much to report. I got the new software update. I've gotten so many updates on this car. But I do want to talk about one thing, and that is the new Model Y refresh that's supposed to be coming. Now, back in the day, a lot of people said, "Oh, I wouldn't switch. I would wait. I wouldn't buy a Model Y, even if it's 0.99%. Don't do it because the refresh is coming." Well, folks, you got to understand. I, it's a Tesla, so you're gonna get the same software. You're gonna get the same software. This car has all the software of every other Tesla. It's just that simple. All the Teslas have the same software at some point. They're all getting the same updates, which is really, really sweet. So I don't care if the new one comes out and it has the rear end and the newer looks of the new Model 3. I don't really care about like the new headlights and all this stuff. I don't really care about that. I got a sweet deal on this car at 0.99% brand new. Got the color I wanted. I've modified it a lot and it's just been holding up great. I mean, there is so much to love about this car that it's a win. So I don't care if a new one comes out and it has a new front end and it has all these, it looks a little different because the point is it's going to work just the same, simply put. So it's a beautiful day out. I was gonna pull the vet out, but I drove it all yesterday. But depending on when you're watching this, man, 5,000 mile follow up that I promised. Software is up to date. No real issues with the car at all, other than the user error that I did for that seal in the back. And the car's running like brand new. I mean, it's only got 5,000 miles on it, so technically it is brand new. But I'm gonna get out of here. See if you can see the Pixel. Can you see the Pixel? I got a case on, so you can see it. But yeah, man, the interior. As far as the interior goes, there's been nothing wrong with the interior. Everything is literally still good to go. And these seats are really helping. As you can see, I did take out the air conditioning seats because I didn't want to have a dual overlay or whatever on the seats. Like I need to have two layers on these seats to run the air conditioning seats. And I was like, I don't think I want to do that. So what I did was I just took them off and I'll just use them whenever I want to use them, like if it's really hot and on a long trip. But other than that, the car has been holding up great. So if you were one of the people who got one of these cars, you got one of these cars and you got it at the 0.9 or the 1.9, you got a great deal, man. Embrace it, enjoy it. You got a sweet deal. You got a phenomenal deal, and I think you can't go wrong with any of the Model Ys right now at this point because you're saving on fuel economy, as buying gas, that is, and also range. The range of this car is about 249 to 250 at 80%, and at 100% is 305. So this car hasn't seen very many road trips lately, but it has seen in-town driving every freaking day. Every day, this car is pulled out the garage, and it is driven at least 100 miles a day. So minimum 100 miles a day this car sees. So, I mean, I really like the way the car rides. It's not as fast as a Plaid, as I was saying earlier, but that's not what this car is about. If I wanted to do a performance Model Y, like a real performance Model Y, I would have gone with the performance Model Y. Now, a lot of things that I like about the car, this I gotta say real quick, this modification, folks, even though you can't unplug it, run your wires around, this is a must buy right here. I can open the doors, the charge port, control the seat. I can do a bunch of stuff with this right here. And most importantly, it solves my problem with the HVAC system. I wish that I can get one of these for the Plaid. I would totally do it. So I'm gonna fire the car up, and I'll just put in my passcode to drive. And now I'm gonna drive because I really like having the stocks. And side note, I have stocks for my Plaid. I just didn't put them in yet, man. I just haven't put them in yet for some reason. So yeah, this car is good. It's loaded down with a bunch of stuff. All the refrigerator stays in there because I use the refrigerator sometimes. But overall, man, this is a good car. This is, I mean, there's a reason why this car is like #1 in sales across cars. It's just a good purchase. It's a solid purchase, and you just can't go wrong with a car like this. It's versatile. It's an SUV. It's a car. It's electric. There's no paying for gas. Gas is very expensive and then also very cheap. It fluctuates. But charging for this car is always charged at home. I follow Tesla's recommendations, even though I have free supercharging. I limit that to when I'm gonna actually like go on a trip or something. I don't really need to go to superchargers or anything like that because why? Why do I need to go to a supercharger when I can just plug up at home? So I talked about this not being a Plaid or whatever, and then I could get a performance Model Y if I just really wanted a performance car. But folks, I did boost this car with the performance. I did do the performance boost, and let me see here. You can see there it says acceleration boost. That means that I did the I didn't pay for it. I had 9,500 credits at the time, and I got it. It costs $2,000 if you don't do it. So if you don't have the credits, but I had the credits. I had more than that, over 100,000 credits from all the other referrals. So the $9,500 spending on here was a no-brainer. So in turn, you have sport mode and chill mode right there, and I'm controlling this on my steering wheel right here. I have it set to where I long press, and it pretty much, when you drive this car in chill mode, it feels heavy. But if you drive it in sports mode and with all the stuff in this car, it still takes off on a dime. It's just great, man. This is a nice car to own. I don't think anybody who I would say people who think that they wouldn't like a compact SUV, this car has tons and tons of storage room, and it is definitely one that I would recommend to pretty much anybody. If you want a car, the Model 3 is nice, but this is more practical. This has more room than the Model 3. And if you want performance, get a performance version of this car. The Model 3 is nice, but it's much smaller in the inside. And I can guarantee you, having two Model 3s, after a while, it's kind of almost like it's a car for just two people, because the back seat is almost unusable depending on how the size of the people that are getting in the car. That is what I'll say, respectfully. Um, I can fit in the back seat of a Model 3, but the person driving has to be at probably about 5'1" or 5 feet if I'm going to sit behind them. So that's why this Model Y is practical. I mean, that's why I'm gonna go down to Costco's. That's why this car sells so well. So I'm gonna focus on the road. I just wanted to give you a 5,000 mile follow up. Wow, man. I mean, I am really enjoying this car, and I highly recommend it to anyone who's looking for a new car. You know, not just an SUV, but just a new car. I recommend it. It's your man Jay. If you guys enjoyed, 5,000 miles down. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.